Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I have some high scoring tiles in the Z and the K. I don't have a bingo. 14 points for my opponent. I've got Hafiz down from the H, and that looks pretty good because the F is non-bingo-y, and the KOR is quite a decent rack leave. Not particularly bingo-y, but it holds out the potential for score next go. Now this is 40 points, which is a good score. Is there a better one? Frizz is good. I could play that underneath the I of Huia. It takes an E. About 8 fewer points. I'm just pausing on this move because the Z right next to the double word square isn't great positioning. I could play Zauk down from here. That might be a lot better. FAIR, not a bad rack leave, only 3 fewer points and not really dangerous, and my F can go next to this O. Not great, but it is balanced, so a play like Fairy would sort the rack out. I do want to play off 2 of my high scoring tiles, plus an A. And my preference for those 2 would be the F and the Y, since they are the least bingo-y. So a play of FAY somewhere would work. Just wondering if I can place any of my high-scoring tiles next to the O of Zauk. The Y can go after the K, but not many words have IY in them. My A can go after the Z. So I could have a play which is AFIA or AMIA. But I can't see such a play. Zauk's quite nice because the K takes nothing in front of it, so my opponent cannot play down from the H. And the Z takes nothing in front of it, so he cannot play down column 5 either. What would be bad would be a short play in column 7 by the O and the K, because then there would be very little available for me. Huia takes an S after it, but nothing else. Now maybe I've got a play in row G, running along the top of Huia. Well, can't see anything which goes over the H. And then if I were playing in row G, it would have to be my M above the I. Well, I'm not seeing much there either. Right, my opponent doesn't obstruct the board as much as he could have done, but he hasn't provided anywhere hot for my high-scoring tiles. I can play Fairy in row J, which would sort the rack out, keeping AM, beginning underneath the second E of Neil. Now, do I have a 6-letter play beginning above the L? So play a 6-letter play beginning with A. I've got the air prefix. Well, I can't see such a play. Now, rather than Fairy, an alternative would be just Fay, keeping Amir. This provides fewer floaters for my opponent, but it also enables him to score well with a short play in row K because the Y is above the double word square. So I think Fairy would be better. 22 points, not a fabulous score. So what about playing down column 7? if I could place my A here, I could get a good score. So I'm looking to place... I was thinking about Zion, but that doesn't work. Iron is good. 31 points, and that's giving very little away. It would be nice to play off the F or the M. This doesn't look particularly hopeful. What about the M? No, well, I think I will go with iron. Partly because it gives so little away, and because its score is significantly better than fairy. Through an R, I would have airframe. Can't see anything through the L. Can't see a 7. But this rack should be fairly easy to sort out. I just need to play off the F. I don't have to play off the M with it. So I'm looking to play off the F and the A and probably one more vowel. So a play of FAA would work. Iron takes a Z in front, which has already been played. I'm just wondering if it takes anything else, possibly an L. Maybe Layin is good. Do I have a 6-letter play beginning above the L of Neil? So either beginning A or E. Can't see such a play. I have a 38-point lead, but my opponent is on turn. Column 8 is now quite hot for a 6-letter play, hooking Tsar. None of my tiles do that. Now, my F and my M can go underneath the second E of Neil. So basically the same play as I had last time, Far would work there. Only 17 points. I'm just going back to the L in case I've got an 8-letter play. Close to familiar, not close enough. Can't see such a play. 16 minutes on my clock, 15 on my opponent's. Still a lot of tiles to come, including both blanks and all 4 S's. $15 points for my opponent after a very long wait. Shall doesn't take anything after it that I've got. C takes nothing either side that I've got. So quite a good play by my opponent in terms of keeping the board tight. I'm looking in row H to see if I've got something across from the A. And I can't see anything. My ALF spot has been taken, as has all of the words I was considering around the L of Neil. I could play MA down here. Keeps the board pretty tight. Only 13 points, but it does stop my opponent having a high-scoring play, beginning with the A of Chal. Yeah, I think that's okay. It would be nice to have played off the F, but I can't see a way of doing that. Although maybe I have a play across row F going through ZA or ending ZA. I can see Mirza, but that's keeping both A's, so that's not the play. I think I will go with this. Wow, I draw a blank, which is good. Pretty tight board, and a lot of vowels. Ah, but my opponent's played a V for favourite. Fantastic. Wow, what a turnaround. Favourite. And that stops 2 squares short of column 15. Do I have anything down from double A? Well, even if I do, I don't think it's going to be better than favourite. I could spend longer looking for a better bingo, but I'd rather keep my time as high as possible. Or higher than it would be if I spent time looking. Favourite 76. And that's quite a good pickup, fairly balanced. I may have a bingo here. Nothing's leapt to mind. Really only the E of favourite as a floater. So how to sort this rack out? Well, again, I've got 2 high-scoring tiles, so I want to play off one or both of them. I certainly want to play off one of the R's and the U. So a play of Rumpo would work. Or just a play of Erp. Now both my P and my M go above the E of favourite. And my U can go above the T. I've now got a 90-point lead. Great, only 24 points for my opponent, but he does take out that double word square I was eyeing up, and he's not provided anything for me. I'm wondering if tending takes an S in front for future reference. It might. So, what to do here? Both my P and my M can also go above the O and the A of favourite. I could play Rumpo and of. Do I have something which ends OM or OP? Well, I have Pro-M, keeping UR. The extra score may justify making this play. There's still the Q out there, only one U. And this is turning over 5 tiles, as indeed Rumpo would be. 36 points is a good score. And this keeps the board tight. I'm only providing one floater in the P. Well, I draw that one remaining U, so not a good pickup. I do, however, draw an S, which is good. My opponent challenges, he loses 5 points. I'm now 100 points ahead. How to sort this rack out? Well, it would be good to play off both U's. I can do that with Guru, or I may be able to do that with Guru. I could play Gurus and Zauks, which burns the S, but there are still 3 to come. That would leave 2 vowels on my rack, though. But the score, over 30 points. Not bad. Through an E, I would have auguries. So if my opponent were to bingo down from column 14, that might be playable. I can't see a 7 with this rack. And I'm looking around for anywhere else for Guru, and I'm not seeing anywhere. So at the moment, the only play I've seen is Gurus and Zauks, which is not bad. But there's still a lot of A's and I's out there, so I could be in a lot of trouble if I play that. And although 30 points is a good score with this rack, it's not fabulous. Now I could play Guru at A4 down. 14 points, keeping AIRS, which is a very good 4-letter rack leave. It's opening up the triple word squares in row A, including a 9 timer, which isn't good. I don't have to play off both U's, but I would like to. Certainly with the S, I have half an eye on a bingo, and any U in my rack dampens that prospect. Nice bingo by my opponent. 75 points for him. He's only 30 points behind now. And there goes the second blank. Now, what I do have is augur, which keeps the S. Great. I should have seen this, having considered auguries. But augur for 25, it's not as much as Zaux and Gurus, but I think that was just 31. So the S is worth more than 6 points. So this is a better play. And if I'd played Gurus, then my opponent could have scored highly across here. Well, I draw the Q as expected, having played on both U's. But I have I's to go with it. Nice play by my opponent, 40 points. He's now only 15 points behind. I can play chins and Zaux. And that's pretty good. It's keeping the X for score. This is not a particularly bingo-y board. And the scores are tight, so I need to, or would like to, keep scoring, and chins achieves that. A vowel heavy rack leave is not a problem when the consonant is a power tile like the X. 35 points is a good score. Just looking around in case there was somewhere great for my X or Q that I've overlooked. Can't see anywhere. That's not bad. Still a lot of E's to come, so I don't need to worry about playing off E's. I've got X-tine. I was looking in column 14, but GE isn't good, otherwise that would have been a massive score. I've got X-ine in row K underneath chins. That's going to score well, but it is going to place an E in the middle of column 1, which is dangerous. Can't see anything using the J and the X. Can't see anything above the B of tablia. I could play Knox or Nix in row H for 30 points. That's a good way of keeping the scoring going and keeping a fairly balanced rack leave, although retaining 2 E's when there are 5 to come isn't ideal. Again, I'm looking back at column 14 to see if I've got a 6-letter play beginning IX or OX. Can't see one. My opponent takes my Knox spot. He's now 30 points behind. So, what about X-ine? $41 points. It's a good score. Very tempting. If I played something less dangerous, I could play Nixie in column 4. So 41 for X-ine, keeping TO. Not a good rack lead with 3 O's and 3 T's to come. 10 minutes on my clock. Now play of Nixie. $24 points. I'm going to go for the score and the higher tile turnover. I could be punished for this with a massive score in column 1, but Scrabble is about probabilities, and even if my opponent does score well, he will just be fortunate. Now, X-ine 41. A lot of low scoring tiles, so I'm going to struggle to keep scoring. Great, my opponent doesn't use the E of X-ine. That remains available, so I could play delete in column 1. I am going to take that out. 17 tiles left, 9 minutes on my clock. I don't have a bingo through the W. Weed lot isn't quite long enough. I don't have an N or an S for going underneath chi. Still 3 S's to come, but not a particularly S-friendly board. I don't have a bingo coming down from the R. 3 E's is really killing this rack. No other floaters or floating pairs to consider. So this is the play I'm considering. It keeps no consonants and 2 vowels. Let me look at the vowel situation. 6 out of 23. Well, that is therefore a good keep. Great. Pretty balanced rack. No bingo here, but it's not a bingo-y board, and I do have scoring tiles. Delete has provided very little for my opponents. This is now a tight board, unless he's got a bingo. Quite a bingo-friendly set of remaining tiles. NE doesn't take an S after it, but it does take quite a few of these remaining tiles. Still an N available for going after chi and an S, so there could be a high-scoring non-bingo play here. I'm only 60 points ahead. And because the board's not bingo friendly, I'm going to struggle to come back if my opponent does bingo. I've got Cowpat on my rack as a 6. Only 5 vowels left, so it'll be interesting if my opponent doesn't bingo. Be interesting to see how many vowels he plays. Column 4 is a possibility for me, playing through IN. I could play something like Wince. Although that's not good, really, providing a floating vowel when there's a vowel shortage. But it would be good to take out row L as a bingo lane. That was my thinking. Maybe there's another way of doing that. Well, there goes a vowel. Only 17 points as well, which is good. 8 minutes on my clock, 10 tiles in the bag. Now, what about a play in row L? Do I have anything which goes after IN? I don't. So it would be a spoiling play, but I think the only way I could stop my opponent bingoing below me is with a play ending in C. So I could play Tok. So I'm 41 points ahead. Tok is only 8, but it's a really killing play. On the other hand, the remaining tiles are now not looking particularly bingo-y, given the vowel drought, so I think I would rather keep scoring. So there must be a way of scoring more than 8 points. Unfortunately, none of my high-scoring tiles goes after an E, so I can't play in column 2. 7 minutes on my clock. This is quite a good rack, but there's just very few opportunities on this board. Again, I'm looking back at IN to see if I've got a play through that. Nothing beginning with the X. Both my P and my W can go after NE, I just can't get a play ending in C. Six minutes left. Nothing goes after Chal. I don't think C does. I think it's Ori Chalk, not Chalk. I can't see a good play through IN. I don't like Tok. It doesn't score very much and the rack leave isn't great. Well, what about wow down here? I'm taking out a floater. The W is a floater. That kills it. 16 points is a lot more than 8, and this is a balanced rack leave. I'd like to expedite the end of the game by playing lots of tiles, but I can't see a way of doing that. Yeah. I have Plectra, and that plays in row L, making Nep. Great. I wasn't expecting to have a bingo-y rack, or a bingo on my rack. Now my opponent's played in that spot for 67. That's what Tok would have killed. And he's now got a 10-point lead. There's one tile in the bag. Does Plectra have any anagrams? It certainly doesn't play underneath Foister. I've got a 10-point lead. The remaining tiles contains only one vowel. With 10 points behind, maybe I can play something like Perk across here. That's 24. ALT, 4 minutes on my clock. ALT quite balanced. So if I drew a B, I could play Blat. But if I played off one more tile, it would probably be easier to go out. 4 minutes on my clock. So I've got Perk in my pocket. Can't see anything good coming down from the S. I'm just wondering if Foister is good. Foist is good. Foisted. Foists. Foister. A slight doubt about it, but I'm not going to challenge because I think it's good. 40s and Foister. Yeah, I'm going to leave it. So I've got Perk. The trouble is ALT doesn't feel like I'm going to be guaranteed an out, and I think I need to be going out in 2 from here to be to have a chance of winning. So what about Parcel? $28 points. So that's going to put me 18 ahead. If my opponent plays Vens, 34, 16 difference. But I've then got the T. Oh, well, it's going to be close. It would be nice if that E wasn't right there. 2 minutes on my clock. So how can I do better than this? Parcel 28. Well, I could play a Pert, which gives nothing away, but it keeps CL, and that if I draw a constant, I'm not going out in 1. Two minutes left. Well, this may not be the winningest play. But it does give me, I think, a reasonable shot of going out next go with whatever I draw. 1 minute on my clock. I can just see a 30-point play just coming down here, and I'm not going to be able to be sure of winning. I don't mind that if I can be sure of winning. What about Pacer in this spot? Keeping LT. Well, the trouble with that is the likelihood of drawing a consonant, and the only way to be sure of going out, I think, is to retain a vowel or to retain just one tile. NT. So my opponent doesn't have vens. Interesting. He does have vests, however, but then he's going to be keeping the B and the D. So this is going to be close. I've only got 51 seconds on my clock, so where can I need to just focus on where I can score with N and T. I've got knit, and I've got net. These might be enough. I'm going to have very little time to find something better. But at least I know I'm going out. I've got pent. 8 points for pent. I should be looking methodically, but I'm scanning all over the place. Right, I'm looking methodically now from the top down for N and T. I'm halfway down. I've seen nothing better than pent. Okay, so pent it is. And then my second choice is net for 5 and knit for 4. Actually, I don't need a third choice. One of the top two will work. My N could go after chi for chin, but then I'm keeping the T. 51 seconds on my clock, 3 minutes on my opponent's clock. So what would vests do? 32 points. That would give my opponent a 14-point lead. He'd lose 12 on countback, and I would win with pent. And I haven't seen anywhere better for my opponent than playing in that spot. Well, he's got vested in that spot. What difference does that make? 36 points. So he would have an 18-point lead. That might be enough. 18-point lead. He'd lose 8. I'd need 10 to draw. Pent doesn't do it. So I think vested is a winning play for my opponent. How annoying. Well, time for recriminations later. I'm sure my opponent will see vested. Yeah. So he's 18 points ahead. I've got pent. And it's not enough. 30 seconds left. Have I overlooked an NT play? Let me just put this down while I'm looking. What's my opponent? My opponent's got BS. He can go out, so there's no point in playing chin. I won't get another shot. Rats. I get the feeling I've thrown that game away. And, oops. The final score, 375 to me, 377 to my opponent, a winning margin of 2 points, so well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. It was my opponent to go fast. He played Huia, and this was my rack, and Kazi was playable. Where's that? G7. making key and also doubling the Z. So that's a pretty nice play. Kazi also playable through the H. I played Zauk for 37. Yeah, I think Kazi better. Now, this was my opponent's rack. He played Neil. Ramify J9. Oh, yeah, pretty good underneath Neil, placing the way on this triple. And I did Iron, which is also good, I think. My opponent's rack, he plays Chow. And this was my rack. And I don't recognise any of the plays down there. I played MA for 13. Wow, there were quite a few other possibilities, including, well, Craft I don't like. Half, don't like either, placing the A above that. IRAM, same problem. Yeah, most of these moves are problematic, so MA not bad. My opponent's rack, he plays Vug, and I had Favourite. I didn't see Fail Over in the same spot. My opponent's rack, he plays Tending. And I played Pro-Am, which looks fine, significantly better than the second play of Rumpo. My opponent's rack, nice bingo for him. And then Augur looks best. My opponent plays Jerd, and then this was my rack. I played Chins, that looks fine. My opponent plays Now. This is my rack. I played Exine, and again that looks fine, significantly better than the next play in terms of score. And quite a nice rack for my opponent. He plays Ryoka. Now the game was looking pretty good for me. I played Delete higher up than suggested here, but which I think is a better placement. So right now I've got a 50 or 60 point lead on a pretty blocked board. This is my opponent's rack. He plays Yo, and this was the turning point. I had the chance to play Tok, which would have closed off a bingo lane, or the play I made, which was Wow. Pew down here, 24, pretty good actually. Nice rack lead, keeping 2 vowels. Yeah, none of these plays block the bingo lane in Royale, so difficult to analyse. And now my opponent does play Foister, nice spot by him, and this was another turning point. I'm only 10 points behind. There's only one in the bag. I think the game is probably winnable here, but not with Parcel. See, Parcel is the play which kept one consonant rather, and the only other play is Polter in the same spot, again placing the E underneath this triple letter square. And the plays which keep a vowel keep too many consonants. It's reasonable to assume that I'll be drawing a consonant. Now, what about Pact at K10? Well, that's possibly the right play, but ELR doesn't really go that well, and I am behind. I'm 10 points behind. Pact would put me 14 points in front. Well, possibly Pact was a better play. Anyway, I played Parcel. My opponent played Vested. Did I have a winning play? I didn't. Pent was the best that's available. So that was a pretty tricky endgame, and the really critical point was the point at which I was thinking about playing Tok. And it's easy to say when you see Foister going down that, well, Tok would have blocked it, that would have been a better play, but it's not quite that simple. You'd have to consider whether the likelihood of your opponent bingoing and the likelihood of him catching you if you just went with Tok, or the likelihood of him bingoing through the W. So quite a lot to take into account on that play. And Parcel also, very tricky play. Looking at the alternatives that were available there, nothing was obviously better. So just generally a very tricky end to the game. It felt like it was winnable and I should have won, but I can't be sure of that. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.